time for the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. Blake Sloan, one of the top real estate agents not only on the Grand Strand, but in the world. He's been featured in Forbes magazine, the Wall Street Journal, NBC, and many other publications. And now, the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan.
Good morning, everyone. Blake Sloan here. Brand new show we got. I was actually out of town last weekend, had a mastermind conference in Houston, Texas. Flew there, the top agents across the country with huge teams came in, and we all shared ideas, what was going on. And I have some great insight I'll share with you all here in the show. Just has to do with what's happening in major markets, what we have to expect with us. Because usually I've learned in being in these groups and paying a lot of money over the years to be a part of them that we're about 6 months behind them. And so that's something that's great. We'll talk about that allows us to adjust. And just to give you a heads, there's a few bigger markets that are seeing a slight slowdown, which is interesting, but that's typical. We'll talk about kind of what's going on there. We have a brand new show here, tons of great information. We'll go ahead and cover the overall market numbers for anyone that missed last week. Last week we covered the micro market, but this is the macro in general. We're still doing great. We're still looking at what's happening. The good news is we've been tracking week versus week new properties going under contract, and they bump back up. That's also due to some great news in the mortgage world. It's had some huge advantages in the mortgage world for mortgage rates drop back down to almost a new low, which is very, very cool. A 5-month low, which is awesome, awesome news here. We'll talk about that. Some very interesting news, just kind of real estate in general. We'll talk about what kind of happened in the hottest areas. We have some amazing, amazing brand new success stories overall. And two main things I'll talk about. One, we're going to look at kind of the overall housing inventory shortage and just take a look at housing supply and what that means right now for sellers. Are we finally seeing something caught up? Why is this different than before in terms of what's happening in regards to, a potential, I don't want to say crash, but I get that question a lot, right? Why is it so inflated? Why are things happening a lot different? We'll dig down why and really kind of how those numbers break down from a supply standpoint and what led to that actually happening. But we came off a record number in May, which was awesome. Home prices nationally broke records in May, according to the S&P Case-Shiller Index, which is awesome, awesome news. We'll also talk about some horror stories. I've been getting a lot lately, issues with appraisals. People's properties aren't appraising. They're having some issues in terms of the agent not necessarily knowing how to go to bat. We just did one yesterday that came in $20,000 short. We were able to go to bat and fight against the appraiser to get what they call a secondary review appraisal done to come back in. And guess what happened? We got it done and got that price corrected. And so you definitely need someone right now who can fight for you and who can understand what's happening. And also one last thing I have here, I think is a really cool story is I'm going to kind of share with you how finding high-end buyers for your house is really a lot like deep sea fishing.
For any new listeners, just to give you an update on just who Blake is, it's an amazing story. Industry leaders have dubbed him the real estate whiz kid. Been featured in Forbes, Wall Street Journal, NBC, Realtor Magazine, and many other national publications. He has been personally endorsed by Sean Hannity and Dave Beck. One of those itself is an accomplishment, but all of them together is unprecedented. Last week, we learned a little about how you and your team work and how a good portion of your success has come from the trademark systems you have developed to help both buyers and sellers here in our market. Recap quickly for anyone new to the show what those are exactly, and a quick overview of how they work, Blake.
Yes, I'll tell you again, I made a promise a long time ago before the market was so crazy that I would really just talk about what makes things different and the huge mistake that almost all consumers make, regardless of how affluent they are, regardless of how many homes they've sold. Actually, I had an appointment this morning and was riding back, and the person was very affluent. We're just, man, people still look at how they make decisions about agents. They don't put enough time and thought into who they use, the difference in it. We really showed this person. They're like, holy cow, I've never thought about that. This person was an attorney. It makes a big difference. So, here's the deal. The single most important variable that determines your failure or success comes down to one thing only. That thing is the agent you choose, period. Not your wall colors, not your carpet color, not the quality of your grass. It comes down to how does the agent you have actually execute when it comes down to business, right? People make this huge thing of thinking that agents are all the same, right? Everybody has friends in a business. Everyone in the world knows a realtor right now because so many people got into. You have to understand, though, that you need the absolute best. And you deserve the absolute best when you're dealing with, for most people, one of your largest assets, right? If you're charged with a crime you did not commit, You don't want some brand new attorney who practices part-time who's only tried a couple cases. But people will list their house with an agent who's part-time, who just got in the business, who's only sold 3 or 4 houses in the last year. It's very, very important to understand that the stakes are very high and you got to treat it that way, right? Most people put more time into how they shop for a vacuum cleaner than they do in regards to making a decision about an agent. And so why do I say the single most important variable that determines your failure or success comes down to the agent? Because here's the deal. In selling a property, aka listing your property and selling it, there's 118 different variables from A to Z. If each one's handled correctly, guess what that does? Puts money in your pocket, property gets sold. If anything's handled incorrectly, aka they drop the ball at any point, that costs you your hard-earned equity, aka you leave money on the table, or what happens many times, the property does not sell. And so the reality is it makes a massive difference. And so what I did is, first of all, we say, hey, look, what are the variables that have to be controlled to make sure we can get to a successful home sale? We mapped all those out, and I created a system that's proven and repeatable that creates maximum leverage at every single point. We call it stacking the dominoes. So at the end, in small increments, I create a massive gap between us and your competition, giving you, the client, a competitive advantage. That system not designed to backed up by people and technology, but it's called the Guaranteed Sold System, the only proven system to sell them twice as fast and for up to 20% more money than traditional methods, and it works very, very, very well. And so right now, I think it's important to talk about this. I mentioned it last week, and I think it's so relevant to what's happening, is that the market's hot, right? Anybody can sell a property anytime, and that's true. Any realtor can sell a property. You can sell it yourself. You don't even need me. But that does not mean that you can sell it for the most amount of money, or that you're able to sell for the most amount of money. The best analogy I come up with, I mentioned last week's show, but I think it's important to talk again, is the classic Corvette. Let's say you have a classic, pristine Corvette that's amazing, right? Has a very, very high value. It's very rare. And you can sell that Corvette, guess what, today. You can take it right to the 501 Walmart, put it in the parking lot right there next to 501. You can sell that today probably for a good price. But the question is, did you sell the classic Corvette for the most amount of money to a buyer who's willing to pay a premium? And so that's the difference in what we do right now in terms of our marketing and that Guaranteed Sold System. Because if you take this same classic Corvette, you put in every classic Corvette enthusiast website, every classic Corvette enthusiast group online, and every classic Corvette enthusiast magazine, guess what you have now? You have more demand, you have more exposure, you have more eyeballs, and in turn, you tend to find buyers who are willing to pay a premium for that classic Corvette. That classic Corvette can also be known as your house, right? What most agents do is they take your nice, right, home, which is your sanctuary, right, your largest asset in many cases, and they take that and they place your house in the Walmart parking lot. You know what that is? That's the MLS. They take the house, they do the 3 Ps. They promise you the world to get listing. 2, they put it to MLS. And 3, they pray that someone else brings a buyer. Meanwhile, they're down the street trying to get the next listing. How do I know that? Because I've seen it in real estate my entire life. That's how I was really, starting out watching other people in the office, because you have one single agent trying to juggle all these balls. It's simply not possible. And so I sought out to find a system that's proven repeatable. Our Guaranteed Sold System does that and gets you the right exposure to buyers, not just locally, but nationally and internationally, especially in a place like Myrtle Beach. That matters because we have hundreds of millions of dollars right now coming in from up north and other states. You've got to be able to capture them and get those eyeballs on your property. And so if you want to know more about that, you owe it to yourself to reach out and call us, 843-808-SOLD. On the flip side, on the buyer side, it's a very difficult market right now. You want to make sure you have someone who understands how to navigate the very, very tough side. And so what we did there is we developed a system very similar called the Unfair Advantage Home Buying System to get you priority access to foreclosures, distress sales, desperate sellers, the absolute best negotiation and purchase price, as well as home inspection to all the way get to the closing table. And so right now, the market is so hot. You do not want to touch it by yourself, and you don't want to touch it with someone who is not experienced and very, very good at what they do. And we told this story this morning. I had someone who didn't sell their house, a well over $1 million property, amazing property on acreage and all kind of stuff. And it was with another agent before. Number one problem I asked when I sat down with the seller, he said the agent didn't get exposure. No quality photos, no professional photos, no videos, no anything to show a buyer in Connecticut who's worth $10, $20 million, how they can get this house. Now it's a benefit to them. And so you want to understand the importance of getting the right marketing and someone who does enough transactions to understand the ins and outs and the nuances to help get you the advantage you need. So if you want to know more about that, reach out, call us, 808 sold. We'll talk about that. Take a quick break. We'll come back and look at the overall market numbers right now.
Hey, it's your friend Sean Hannity. Now, if you own property in Myrtle Beach, the national marketing plan of the realtor that you choose is absolutely critical. Now, that's exactly why you need to talk to Blake Sloan at Sloan Realty Group. Now, Blake has a marketing system on a whole different level than anyone else in Myrtle Beach. It's so effective at capturing local buyers from around the world that he can guarantee to sell your home at a price and a deadline that you agree to, or Blake's going to buy it. Most agents rely on yard signs and open houses that attract the occasional buyer. Blake
We'll do that break.
Buyers each month, which creates demand and helps your property for top dollar. Now, that's why on average, Blake sells a property every single.
We won't do a break for a while. Yeah, you're right. We'll do the numbers, then one more break, and have success stories. Yeah.
If you're not happy, Blake gives you the freedom to cancel your contract and pay nothing. So give Blake a call today at 808
Perfect.
Sold. That's 808
Thank you.
Sold, or just go online and see Blake's interview on NBC at blakesguarantee.com.
As a real estate investor, I look for sharp agents who really know their market. Agents who do so much business that they can find me the right investment property and sell it for the most money without drama. When I need real estate advice in Myrtle Beach, I call Blake Sloan. His innovative marketing attracts hundreds of buyers every month, which creates more demand for your home, selling it faster and for more money. He guarantees to sell it on your timeline for a tenant buyer. Call the agent I trust, Blake Sloan, and avoid the drama.
Welcome back to the Blake Sloan Real Estate Radio Show. Tons of great information. And speaking of Barbara Corcoran right there, I'll be visiting her very, very soon, the next couple of weeks in New York City. We're shooting a new commercial together. We'll see that here locally, which is awesome. She's been an amazing mentor to me from a business standpoint, and just super, super proud of that. If you have any questions, reach out, call us anytime. Save her number, save my number, 843-808-SOLD, and we're here to help answer any questions you have, big, small, always no pressure, always no hassle. We're here to serve you for the long term. So really quick, looking at numbers. They're amazing, amazing numbers. They're doing great so far. We're looking at two types of numbers, though. We have the rear view mirror numbers, which is what happened from a closed sales standpoint. Then we also have the windshield numbers, I call them, which is what's happening from new deals going pending, because I want to always be on top of what's happening in real time so we can advise our clients on how to make the best decision, right? That means you can push a little harder. You may want to be a little more conservative based on what's happening with the new data. So quick recap. We just had a record number in terms of single family sold homes for the month of June, right? We had a new record of 790 homes, which is awesome. That's up from the previous record in April of this year. That was 773. We had a little worry in May, a hiccup, so to speak, when sales dropped back down to 688. Great news is last month, 790 single family homes closed for a record number, which is awesome. And it also led to a new record number in terms of median price. Median price up 28.8% last month alone, which is amazing. $315,000 right now is the median price for our entire Grand Strand area, which is coastal North Carolina, really northern South Carolina, all the way down past Georgetown, and obviously inland through Marion and Loris, all the areas there as well. So great news there. Also, average price also up, new record, up 20.9%. We at $398,160 right now is the average price. Both of these are new records. If you look back crazy, all the way to January 2018, the median price is $190. Right now, median price $315. So that's a lot of extra equity people are having right now. And that's one of the biggest, not mistakes I see, but one of the biggest surprises I think when we're dealing with homeowners is showing them how much equity they have and they're blown away. And so that's just why if you look at online data, like the online like Zillow tools or website valuations, you definitely want a human input to that because it's moving so fast. Those sites and those aggregators can't keep up to really give you some of the best data. And so they just keep that in mind overall. One thing that's driving that is inventory. Inventory was scraping all-time lows at 1 month inventory. There's 1.1 months inventory. We did see an increase in inventory this past month, which is for the first time we've seen that happen since really early 2020 when the lockdown happened. But ultimately, it's still record low. We're seeing right now 1.2 months of inventory, down 67.6% from the same month last year. That's what's driving price up. That's why you're seeing a 20 to 30% increase in prices simply due to lack of inventory, but at the same time, huge increase of sales. And again, that has to do with people working more remotely. Like I said, there's hundreds of millions of dollars right now coming in from up north. How do I know that? We're seeing it every single day, which is very, very interesting to watch. One thing we're looking at too is showings per listing. showing per listing is up 63.9%. What that is that's how many buyers are looking right now. It did drop slightly from May. May was 10.7 per listing. Right now it's at 10.0. And so as I track that, it does show a little bit of softening. It may lead to a slight decline the next month or so. I do think we may see it level off a little bit just based on the weekly numbers, which I'll talk about here in a second. Condos, guess what? They are still smoking hot because we've seen as there's such a lack of inventory for homes. People are moving over and buying condos because they're much more affordable in that term. So last month's closed sales, not quite a record. It dropped down slightly. We hit a record the previous month in May at 842. Right here for June's numbers, 832 condos sold. Next week's show, we'll have the brand new numbers in from July. It just takes a few days in that aspect. But the cool part, sales up 55.5% for condos from the same time last year, which is awesome. Into median price for condos up 20.5% at $171,750, which is amazing. And then also into average sale price for condos right now up 24.1%, a new record at $208,744. So a lot of extra equity there in that aspect as well. And the one key thing I think that's driving that has to do with months of supply. Still low, hit a new record in condos for months of supply, which is AK, what's the inventory, right? How many homes, how many condos are available? It's down 78.4% from the same time last year at 1.1 months. Just to give you a reminder, a healthy market is 6 months. And so we're much below that. You got to think at a 55% increase in the amount of sales. And then you on top of that, put a 78% decrease in the inventory. You can see the pressure is always going to be on price, and the price is lagging indicator. We'll see that continue to climb out the next few months. So very, very interesting. One quick thing I just wanted to cover really quick had to do with new homes under contract. We've been tracking that for the past few weeks, been tracking that really since COVID started, and it peaked out about 800 to 900 homes or properties, and it includes everything that goes under contract per 7-day period. Now, we capped out there. The last 3 weeks has been the 5s and 600s, which has been alarming because it was down pretty significantly. Rates were also up. There's some frustration. Also, people are traveling during the summertime. Last 7 days, we have a new great number, up 741 properties under contract in the last 7 days, which is great news because that means we're seeing a bounce back. There was only a small dip. And then also we're seeing inventory increase. Inventory for single-family resale homes, which is basically a non-brand new home in Horry County that's for sale. It was hovering in the 370s for almost the past 2 months. It's crept up the past 3 weeks. Right now, a new high for this year at 514 single-family homes. So we're seeing inventory increase. That's something to kind of watch over and thinking about. It's good news for buyers, bad news sometimes for sellers. And so the one main thing I took away from just the overall Houston mastermind, hearing a lot of areas in California, Florida, parts of Nevada, they're seeing a slight slowdown in some cases. And the one thing that we just talked about is that the party can't last forever, right? That's very, very eerie for some people in terms of seeing just the absolute pace and absolute pressure. I saw yesterday from my friends in Toronto, a house sold for $400,000 over the asking price, which is insane. And so just think about what's happening going forward. If you're thinking about selling, you want two aspects to think about. Number one, the seasonality of Myrtle Beach, right? If you want to sell this year, if you want to cash out, and here's what I think we've been talking about, is sometimes people are going to take some cash, some chips off the table. Not sure what's happening here long term. We're at a new record. If you have some investment properties, something you've been sitting on for a while, maybe a good time to say, look, let's cash some of these out. Let's sit on the sidelines a little bit, or able to sit back and pick up some other good deals based on what's out there. But we've had a lot of clients, especially on the high end, who are very, very astute, very, very aware of what's happening and say, hey, look, we kind of feel maybe scraping the top. We're thinking about taking some action here and getting some stuff sold and putting a lot of cash and money in our pockets. So if you want to think about that, you want to know more about that, reach out to me. We had a lot of high-end stuff we've been selling lately, and I think it's very, very ripe for that. One thing that's really put some more fuel on the fire right now, which has been fantastic, is mortgage rates. Mortgage rates are amazing right now. Last week's show, for example, was 3.04%. Right now, we're down to 2.86%, which is amazing. We're very, very close to the 52-week low, which is 2.75%. So anyone on the fence have been thinking about refinancing or also buying or moving up, definitely make sure you take advantage of these new low rates. I think it's very, very important. A 15-year fixed rate right now, 2.27%. A 30-year FHA loan, 2.50%. A jumbo loan right now, right? Super cheap money. That's also a 52-week low right now for jumbo loans at 3.03%. That also explains why we're seeing so much movement on the high end right now, because guess what? Money's cheap for jumbo loans. Great aha right there. And a 5-year adjust rate mortgage, an ARM they call it, is 2.38%. And so what that means is a little bit of summer adrenaline, a little bit extra adrenaline on the summertime market here in Myrtle Beach. And we're still seeing a huge influx of buyers come from all over the country, still buying sight unseen. We'll talk about that after this next break. We're seeing some properties sell way over asking price, in some cases getting sellers $50,000 more dollars than they thought they could. And we'll talk about that here after this next break.
Hey, it's your friend Sean Hannity. Now, if you own property in Myrtle Beach, the national marketing plan of the realtor that you choose is absolutely critical. Now, that's exactly why you need to talk to Blake Sloan.
I know, right?
Realty Group. Now, Blake has a marketing
We'll be on time.
different level than anyone else at Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, sometimes.
Capturing local buyers from around the world that he can guarantee to sell your home at a price. And
we have about 8-9 minutes left.
Almost agents rely on yard signs and
Okay.
houses that attract the occasional buyer. Blake attracts hundreds of buyers.
Just give me like a 2. Yeah.
And helps your property sell fast and for top dollar. Now, that's why on average, Blake sells a property every single day of the year and is ranked among the top 100 agents in the entire U.S. by the Wall Street Journal.
Yep.
Now, working with Blake is risk-free. If you're not happy, Blake gives you the freedom to cancel your contract and pay nothing. So give Blake a call today at 808-SOLD. That's 808-SOLD. Or just go online and see Blake's interview on NBC at blakesguaranteed.com. Hey, Myrtle Beach, it's Gary LaVox, lead singer of Rascal Flatts. When I'm Moving On won the award for ACM Song of the Year, it struck a chord with folks who understand the challenges that come with life's big changes. For many, that happens when it comes time to sell their home. If you're moving on, you want a real estate agent who will make selling your home easy and stress-free. An agent who's willing to let you out of the contract if you're not happy with their service. That's why in Myrtle Beach, I can tell you that Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group markets your home on a whole different level. Now listen, Blake is so confident in his ability to sell your home quickly and for more money that he guarantees to sell it or he'll buy it himself. If you're moving on, trust Blake to provide your family a stress-free home sale experience. Find Blake Sloan online at blakesloan.com or you can call him at 843-808-SOLD. Start packing.
Thanks a lot, Gary. All right, it's now time for the Hot Buyers Alert, and these are hot. Blake and his team are working with a ridiculous amount of home buyers who are looking for homes in the Myrtle Beach area from $150,000 to $3.5 million. If you're thinking of selling, please contact us immediately at 843-808-SOLD. That's 843-808-SOLD. Now, weekly buyer lead update. Blake showed me his current count of buyers who are signed up and actively searching for homes daily on his website. Wow, 62,693 active home buyers.
Yes, that's the coolest part, man, is sharing the real data. Like I mentioned here, is that those are real people. Those are username, password, accounts. Like Rick said, that's an actual person that separately. So some are husband and wife, but they're from all over the globe. And so everyone's asking, what do you do different than anybody else? And how can you sell my home versus anyone else? And the difference is I'm outspending the average agent 100 to 1 from a marketing standpoint, bringing buyers in from all over the globe before you ever pick up that phone and call me. And so that difference there, because we have buyers that we need to match up with listings. And as you can tell, we're one of the lowest of all time of listings, but we're at the highest of all time of buyers. So I need homes to sell, property to sell. Anybody you know, friend, relative, aunt, uncle, cousin, grandma, whoever, if you like them, don't like them, have them call us because we can get it sold ASAP and get that demand we talked about to get a premium for the property. Right now, have Lewis on the site from Wilmantic, Connecticut. Been on the site, looked at 243 properties already. I got Jimmy from Lawton, Oklahoma. I got Chadwick from West End, North Carolina. Let's see what else I got here. I got John from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I got William Cook from Autryville, North Carolina. I got Renee from Poughkeepsie, New York, Leland, North Carolina, Ottawa, Ontario, Connecticut, Ohio. So the reality is we have a global reach here, and that's what we get advantage here. We're not just taking your property and put it in the Walmart parking lot. We're getting the right buyers, the right exposure, the right marketing. And so the key thing we want to talk about is, hey, here's the deal. We have the buyers before you ever call us. And we sit down and do a consultation or meeting, whatever. We like to show you the real back end, like real buyers. We show you the same thing that Reed there, that Rick was talking about. And you can see them literally searching. And we're able to say, look, We have this technology. We can take your listing or any other listing, reverse engineer the most likely buyer for that property based on their previous search patterns. And so not only do we have the buyers with the technology that can match up buyer and seller, we have a sales team of 20 plus buyers agents that are able to call, reach out to them, and help get the property sold, not just put it to MLS and hope that someone else sells it. Why is that? Because of the business model advantage we have, which has a team of specialists. So that's what's led to a bunch of awesome success stories. Really quick, super proud of our team, but I want to give a shout out to Joe and Marisha. They're building a new home. And while they can afford 2 mortgages for a short period of time, they definitely preferred not to. So not only price was very, very important to get the most amount of money, but timing was extremely important to them. And I think this is something that we've gotten, side piece here, we've gotten very good at in this market of helping buy and sell and do that delicate dance of trying to get closings in the same time. So thankfully, Joe's been listening to this show and this station for years and heard all the success stories, knew exactly who to call first. We came in, designed a custom plan, launched our global marketing blitz, professional photos, the virtual reality walkthrough. Within 24 hours, received an offer of $5,000 above asking price. And we also could coordinate a closing date that worked perfectly for them to do a simultaneous closing, so they have zero worry about covering and paying 2 mortgages. Now they can enjoy their new home and put maximum equity in their pocket from the old home, which is obviously what our goal is. Really quick, also, a big shout out to Guy. He owned a townhome in Myrtle Beach that him and his wife used as a vacation home. Recently realized they weren't using it very much and would like to cash out at the top of the market. He'd been considering selling for a while, but he wanted to get top dollar and have a process that was easy as possible. Did not obviously hear from one of his neighbors who we sold their property and used him to help. So he came in, he called us, we came in, designed a custom plan, launched global marketing blitz, professional photos, drove massive traffic, got multiple offers, got a price $8,000 above anything that's ever sold in his neighborhood. And we also helped sell the furniture separately, so he didn't have to fool with doing that. So very, very cool there. We got 2 minutes left. Awesome. Okay, so really quick, right now the market's super, super hot. We're seeing potentially some slowdowns in other areas. I don't foresee that being something too much. I think some of that may be buyer fatigue. So just if you're thinking about selling, right, any of your friends you're talking to at dinner, anything else, just consider, hey, look, we're seasonal here. If you've been thinking about selling, move up or move sideways. Interest rates are low. Cash out in Myrtle Beach when everyone's in here right now because they're combining their search with their vacation. Don't wait till October, November to call. We can still get it done, but you can get a premium right now to tee up your home at the right place at the right time. And the one thing I just ask for, if you know anybody looking to buy or sell, we want to provide value to you. Have them call us, 843-808-SOLD. How much we got left? About 1 minute. Also, we're always looking to add to our team. If you're thinking about getting real estate sales and have a high level of service, reach out to us. You can Google Blake Sloan, the Sloan Realty Group, apply right online, or reach out and call us at the office, 843-808-SOLD.